I want to welcome and thank all the family members of our students. They couldn't do them with your support, and we want to thank you for trusting us with their education. So please, a round of applause for yourself. We know how complicated sometimes could be for our students to convince you to let it come to SCI-Arc. I always imagine the conversation, how it will be. I want to go to this school in California. It's just a school of architecture. It has a weird name. Please let me go. And we really take that mission incredibly serious. There is a trust that gets built between the students and the faculty and the staff, and by extension, there is a trust that gets built with each of the families. So we want to thank you for that. I just want to be fairly brief before I introduce our commencement speaker. I want to talk to the class first. I'll get the chance to do it at the end of the afternoon. But today and right now, what I want to mention to you guys is first, congratulations, you made it. But this is just the first step. This is the first step in your career. And a couple of things to keep in mind. One is architecture is a lifetime commitment, as you know by now. Architecture is an extraordinary discipline who have the capacity to shape society, the world, cities, politics, and everything else. Is the ultimate humanist discipline. So there is a secret vow and a deep vow that you take in, not with us, not with SCI-Arc, but with architecture itself. So we really look forward for you to honor that. So keep in mind, and don't let anybody to tell you that the world and the work that you will be confronted outside SCI-Arc, it needs to be different of the energy, naivete, passion, and ambition that you develop in your years here. Do never, ever let anybody to tell you otherwise. You have to keep that torch going and keep that motivation to the point of rupture. Never, never give up. And never forget the power of a small group of committed people to change things. So there is certain grandiosity and innocence in that, but I think every architect should and must think that way. So it's important for you guys to remember that as you leave the institution physically, because SCI-Arc always will be linked to you and vice versa. I always like to think that SCI-Arc is a work in progress. It's a continuing renewed experiment that each generation and each class of students help us to shape, and you make it as much as we do. So we take, as I said, that trust and that commitment from you guys to us very seriously, and I hope we have returned to you guys in the same way. This is an extraordinary time to be an architect, probably many times in history that's the case, but we are in very turbulent times in which everything is on the table and everything up for discussion and argument. So architecture can contribute to equality, architecture can contribute to diversity, architecture can contribute to progress. It must contribute to progress. Architecture has to be always born after progress. So let me do a sideways around the world of progress to introduce our commencement speaker. Ambassador Nina Hachigian, he has been a long-time friend of SCI-Arc for many reasons, personal reasons, intellectual reasons. Let me read first certain formalities of her many achievements. From 2014 to 2017, Ambassador Hachigian served as a U.S. ambassador to the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, known as ASEAN. During her tenure, the United States established a strategic partnership with ASEAN, held the first Leaders Summit in the United States, and grew up the youth program to over 100,000 members. She was awarded the State Department Superior Honor Award for her service, and she's also founder of the Women Ambassadors Serving America. Earlier, Ambassador Hachigian was a senior fellow and senior vice president at the Center for American Progress and the director of the RAND Center for Asia-Pacific Policy for 4 years. She also served on the staff of the National Security Council in the Clinton White House. She is the editor of Debating China, the U.S.-China Relationships in 10 Conversations, and co-author of The Next American Century, How the U.S. Can Thrive as Other Powers Rise. She is also a founding member of the State Department International Security Advisory Board, She is a graduate from Yale University, magna cum laude, and she went previously that to Stanford Law School. She currently is a deputy mayor of the city of Los Angeles, and to give you a couple of touches of things that cannot be put in the cold facts of a resume, Nina is a champion for progress, is a champion for equality, is one of those persons who understand the sacred mission of public service, putting the goodwill of society before her own. And she does all this while she's married to an architect. This is a remarkable thing for those of you who know us architects. This is not a minor thing. The other note is one of those persons that when you talk to her, you really are confronted with your own mission in life. What are you doing? If what you're doing is enough, what else I can be doing? I was remembered today, early on when we started our friendship, of a conversation over her house in which myself and other SCI-Arc colleagues, we were talking about the pettiness of the day-by-day life of the academic world, which, as you know by now, they tend to be completely overblown. And at some moment, I decided to ask, Nina, why are you working now? And she told me she was working a report, how to rethink the constitution of Afghanistan in the middle of the massive turmoil. So, of course, you go home and then you start thinking, what am I doing with my life? How I can measure to that. But despite all these light touches, she's an extraordinary woman, and I think she represents the best that Los Angeles and California has to offer. I cannot think anybody better to talk to you guys, class of 2018. Please join me and welcome the Deputy Mayor of Los Angeles, Nina Hachigian, Ambassador.
Hi, SCI-Arc. Graduates, students, parents, teachers, alumni, staff, leadership, friends. It is a tremendous honor and a real joy to get to speak to you today. I grew up in New York City in the 1970s, and I went to Hunter Elementary School, which was affiliated with Hunter College, where my father taught math. Nowadays, you would call it progressive, but I think that experimental is probably more accurate. Looking back, it seemed to serve as the petri dish for Hunter College's education department to test new theories of learning. I don't remember sitting at a desk very much, and we created real explosions in science. Sometime I was in a class with kids from 3 different grades, and I absolutely loved it. One day in kindergarten, we were brought into a dimly lit room with a number of structures. I remember the cardboard smell, the industrial carpet underneath my feet, the darkness and the mystery of the little constructions. This place was incredibly exciting. So exciting that I apparently lost my composure. I don't exactly remember what happened, but I have a vague memory that I might have slammed my small body into a sidewall and collapsed my structure onto myself. And I'm certain I was laughing loudly. At any rate, I received the only stern reprimand of my entire academic career, which were not easy to get at that school, and I was removed from that special zone. I was shocked and shamed, but deep down, still tingling and gleeful. Nearly half a century later, I still get a little rowdy around compelling architecture. I walk faster, my breath quickens, I look up a lot, I like to put myself in every nook. I snap photos at an even faster clip than usual. Fortunately, I'm married to Joe Day, who graduated from SCI-Arc and teaches here, so I get this opportunity more than most. But I'm not at all alone in that reaction to the new, the surprising, the well-executed, the daring. And this, you see, is your magic. It's the magic that all of you have. You can compel action, thought, and feeling. For all our technology, humans are physical beings, animals, and we respond to physical cues. Even in virtual worlds, we react because designers are getting so good at making renderings feel like reality. You architects and designers make us walk where we walk, sit where we sit. You can make us jump and play. And as Joe Day has pointed out in his work on museums and prisons, you also direct our vision. You show us what you want us to see. And you make us feel. You amaze and terrify and surprise. You nurture and you coax. You can and you do inspire me. These are powerful tools that you own now, and you will come to master them over time. So what will you do with your power and your tools now that you're done with the lectures, the late-night studio charrettes, the endless crits? That will be your question for the coming decades. But you are not leaving SCI-Arc at any old moment. This is not the golden 90s or the boom and bust 2000s. This is a historic time, a time of great disruption, of record-breaking inequality, and a time in which we as a country have lost our way on the values and the role in the world that Americans have held dear for generations. The daily news is harrowing. Unfortunately, and fortunately, you cannot escape that context, and we need you. I'm here to ask all of you to contribute in your unique way to restoring dignity, bringing hope, and healing our divisions. We need your brains, we need your hearts, and we need your guts. Many of our designer friends will preface conversations with, I don't really follow politics, but, except of course for Hernan, as you know, who doesn't do caveats. You don't have that choice any longer. We all have to be involved in the answers that will save our city, our nation, and planet Earth. This doesn't mean you have to listen to NPR or peruse Axios or read the LA Times, although I would encourage all of that. But it does mean, number one, that you have to vote this November if you have the right to. Promise me that you will go register tomorrow if you haven't already. And if you can't vote, please drive a friend to the polls. And it does mean and it does mean that all of you should use your power, your tools, to help our society forward at this difficult time. And because we humans organize and govern ourselves through politics, that means becoming involved on some level in politics. And when I say all of you, I do mean all. It is good to see so many women and people of color and students from around the globe in these seats. Every study I've read suggests that diverse teams do better, earn greater profits, make better decisions, and succeed more. And we need you to succeed. We have some really big problems that need solving. I'm going to talk about three of them, one urban, one global, and one spiritual. At the city level, there are many challenges you can help with, including making our city even more innovative and amazing before the Olympic and Paralympic Games bring the world here in 10 years. But the most urgent and important challenge is affordable housing and homelessness. This is a real crisis in LA, but also in cities in California and across the country. It is unacceptable that tens of thousands of our neighbors sleep on the streets every night. And it is unacceptable that we are getting used to it at some level. These neighbors live unprotected from the heat, from the cold, from criminals. More and more families are living on Skid Row, more old people, more women. Homelessness is a complex problem. While every case is unique, many can be traced back to a toxic mix of trauma and skyrocketing housing costs. But no matter the cause, as Mayor Garcetti has said, this is the moral and humanitarian crisis of our time. Now, due to the mayor's relentless demand for action, the city and county have developed a plan for the crisis, and it's a good plan. Importantly, because of generous voters who chose to tax themselves and some assistance from the state of California, we have resources for the first time to make a measurable difference. The number of homeless Angelenos in the city dropped in 2017 for the first time in 9 years. We have hundreds of well-meaning people with important skill sets working on this challenge: outreach workers, planners, sanitation workers, mental health specialists, and more. We are coordinating the building of emergency temporary housing while we also build permanent supportive housing, all with a variety of services that homeless people need to get back onto a better path. But what we don't have is you. It is clear that we need to do more with less, and we need to do it more quickly. How do we shelter tens of thousands of people immediately and for much less money per square foot? And that's exactly the kind of thinking you can do. This is your power. This is your magic, and we need you to use them. To conceive of alternate kinds of dwelling, or design emergency shelter, or find a way to repurpose city infrastructure. Design ADUs, the granny flats that are now legal and encouraged, or lockers for safe storage. Now, you may find that executing any new imaginative idea is difficult and often not as fun as drawing it to begin with. But I urge you not to leave your ideas on your desks. Take them into the world, find allies, and get it done. While there's bureaucracy around building, I promise you that if you have a great and workable idea and you are persistent, you will find an audience in City Hall. You are all 1 degree of separation from Christopher Hawthorne, the first chief design officer for Los Angeles, who taught here when he worked for the LA Times. And now you also know me, so don't be shy. But you also don't need to wait for the city. There are many organizations working hard to provide shelter and services to the homeless. Think about how it would feel to realize a project for someone who's been living on the sidewalk, on the streets. Think of how she will feel walking into your design, knowing that she will have a safe space to call her own and have a chance to turn her life around. As difficult as the urban challenge of homelessness is, the next problem makes it look manageable in comparison, and that's climate change. Life on this planet is getting and is going to get harder and harder, especially for the poorest people, unless humanity gets its act together very quickly. I think that your generation is generally more enlightened and aware, but let me just share a few facts to set the table for all of us. 2017 was the 3rd warmest year in NOAA's 138-year climate record, behind 2016, the warmest, and 2015, the 2nd warmest. Ocean levels are currently rising at their fastest rate in more than 2,000 years. Hopefully, LA won't really have giant fish swimming around the buildings of downtown, as one Thesis project here depicted. Waters are more acidic now than at any other point in the last 300,000 years. And an average of 21.5 million people have been forcibly displaced each year since 2008 due to climate change-related weather hazards, according to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. The state and the city are on the cutting edge of addressing this problem. At the state level, California just passed the most ambitious carbon reduction targets of any state. And given that our economy is the 5th or the 6th largest in the world, depending on who you ask, this is a very big deal. Governor Brown is bringing countries around the world to San Francisco next week to get even more commitments. And here in Los Angeles, Mayor Garcetti has aggressively led us to a climate record that we can be very proud of. In 2016 alone, we achieved an 11% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. That's the same as taking about 740,000 cars off the road. All the while, jobs and economic growth increased. Los Angeles has more installed solar capacity than any other city in the United States. We are the first big city in the US that has our own utility, that's charting a path to 100% clean power on our grid. The city and the county have pledged to have 100% electric bus fleets by 2030. And in 2018, we became the #1 city in the US for EPA Energy Star buildings. And we've created nearly 30,000 clean energy jobs while doing all of this. And when President Trump announced he was pulling us out of the climate accord, our mayor rallied America's cities Today, over 400 of them, representing more than 70 million Americans, have joined his climate mayor group and have pledged to stay in the Paris Accord and continue to be meeting the goals of that global accord. But none of this is enough. So no matter what kind of practice you choose, you cannot avoid, you should not avoid, making carbon reduction a key goal. Because how we heat, cool, and power our buildings is responsible for over half of our emissions. Regulations will probably increasingly force buildings to become carbon neutral and water saving. But instead of fighting regulations, try to shape them and then outperform them. SCI-Arc has a proud tradition of being ahead on this issue, and I know that you will stay there. Digital design holds so much promise for saving material and energy. And the problem of too much water at some times and not enough at other times seems like a challenge well suited to professionals accustomed to making materials bend to your will. Now, I want to be clear before I talk about the third challenge that I am not suggesting that you compromise on design. On the contrary, I want you to build badass structures that also help solve homelessness and climate change. These are not mutually exclusive goals, and don't let anyone tell you that they are. I've been speaking in pretty practical terms so far, and that's not a surprise because I work in the mayor's office, and our mayor, like most mayors, are all about solving problems in the real world and delivering tangible results for the residents of this mighty global metropolis. Even so, I'd like to close on a more theoretical, even spiritual level. So our third challenge is this: how do we turn walls into bridges? We are not as divided as a country and a world as we may seem. That much I know. But small-minded, tyrannically inclined politicians worldwide are exploiting our fears, our resentments, and our biases to pit us against each other. They're taking the human need for identity and using it for political gain. And the resulting open racism and xenophobia is appalling. Our silence makes us complicit, so it is up to us to always stand up and to speak out. LA's tourism slogan, "Everyone is welcome," sums up well how this city believes in and stands by America's guiding values of tolerance, of inclusion, of respect, of decency. We know that there is no them and us. There is only us. On an institutional level, SCI-Arc has always been proudly global in its faculty, its student body, and worldview, and your new satellites in Mexico and India and China and Colombia are bridges to a wider world. And this is what I do for the mayor. I build those international connections to benefit us all. But what can design do to make us realize that we are one world? How can design and form and structure play a role in making us come together and come to our senses? How can design make people listen? Can it make us understand that the only useful way forward is together, that we are so much stronger when we act in concert? How can we turn walls into bridges? What does it take? I don't have an answer to that question. I'm crowdsourcing here. I want you to answer it. And whatever you come up with, take those answers into your brilliant and meaningful practices that will unfold in the years to come. And put those conclusions to work to building a future that is without question bright. This summer, I arranged a trade delegation to 5 cities in Asia with the mayor and dozens of Angelinos, including 2 of your board chairs, Jerry Newman and Tom Gilmore. It was great. Japan offered travel scholarships to our low-income community college students. We brought back investments from South Korea that will create jobs in a micro amusement park that opened up right around here last week. And we kindled a new relationship with Vietnam, from the Prime Minister all the way to small NGOs that are working for LGBTQ and disability rights. And a large delegation of Vietnamese officials and businesses is paying a return visit to our city starting today. But one of the most memorable moments for me was when the official program ended and a few of us wandered around a Herzog and Demeron project in Hong Kong on the site of an old police station and prison. I walked fast. I looked up a lot. I explored the corners, took a lot of pictures. People from all over were there together to enjoy the shade of old trees, marvel at a vertiginous staircase, and drink in the complete reinvention of this place. Our moment, your moment, the second half of the second decade in this still new millennium, it's not a time for half measures. It is not a time to be timid, and you have the power. All of you do. So get brave, be rowdy, and show us what you've got. Create groundbreaking design and make the world better. Kindergartners don't have a monopoly on running into walls and breaking them down, so do just that. Charge forward into a future bright with opportunity and turn and twist those walls into bridges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nina. Our next speaker is part of a fairly recent tradition, non-traditional SCI-Arc. We like every year to have a student to speak to all of you. And this year, our speaker is Abagael Warners, which everybody knows as Abby. I'm pretty sure that there is absolutely no one single person in SCI who doesn't know Abby. She's a force of nature. She's a fantastic student. She's been president of the student union. She's everywhere. Every time you walk around, anywhere you is, Abby will be there. Supporting, claiming, arguing. She is a phenomenal student, and we are so pleased that she get to speak to all of you today. Please join me in welcome Abagael Warners.
Thank you, Hernan. Thank you, everyone. So, welcome to SCI-Arc, or as some of our family and friends may know it better as some variation of the Southern California Architecture School, Sky Art, one of my personal favorites, or the way my beautiful mother loves to say it, SCI-Arc, which at least she got the arc part correct, right? But anyway, thank you for joining us at this momentous graduation day. Many of you have traveled hours and hours to be here with my peers and I to witness us crossing this stage in a final hurrah on our academic journeys. And let me tell you, it does not go unrecognized. We know some of you have been traveling via aircraft or car for an entire day or more, while some of you have been unfortunately stuck in LA traffic for the same amount of time. Regardless of your mode of transportation, we're glad you made it. Now, since I was asked to fulfill the role of the student commencement speaker, I have hemmed and hawed over what to address you guys with. Should I be funny? Should I be serious? Inspirational? Some pseudo combination? I had no idea, but I can tell you it hit me the other day. So I took about an 8-second break from working on Thesis to briefly go over and view all of the fiction and entertainment postgraduate finals. And I was standing there and I was watching it, and all of a sudden I got teary-eyed, and I was totally appalled that I was crying. But I was just slapped in the face with how awesome and amazing this place is that we get to attend school. And I was also bummed that this would no longer be my normal, and I was just overwhelmed with feelings of gratitude, appreciation, love, and happiness for all that SCI-Arc embodies. All of the stressful days and all of the sleepless nights just faded, and it was coming full circle. I could see that all of our hard work was worth it. Initially, I thought that maybe it was the stress of Thesis, lack of sleep, breathing in all that spray paint, or maybe the 97th takeout order in a row making me emotional. But I kept having moments like this continuously throughout the entire past week. It happened again when I saw Rigo and Freddie sleeplessly hanging their 50-second TV on Thursday night for Thesis on Friday morning. When my small Thesis army glued together the final piece of bubblegum on my model. hugging my bro because he nailed his dream job at UN Studio, being so proud of him. Or hearing my roommate, I'm sorry, I told myself I'm gonna cry. Or hearing my roommate speak the last sentence of her thesis review with a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment on her face when she said, "Is it heaven or Las Vegas or somewhere in between?" So these small moments just kept slapping me in the face all darn week. And now here at this moment, I can see something so unbelievable has been accomplished by all of us. Being a student at SCI-Arc is really, really hard. You sacrifice so much for the work that you are creating. Most of us have cried, gotten dramatic haircuts, received stitches from Olfa knives, or stayed up for more than 24 hours to finish a deadline. I myself am guilty on all counts. In retrospect, the things are just on par for the course here at SCI-Arc, because we are truly one big family. Family is always a bit dysfunctional and messy, but at the end of the day, you always have each other's backs and there's always a sense of unconditional love. As we all leave SCI-Arc and go on to the next chapter of adulting in our lives and get real jobs and such, I just want to thank all the people who made this place feel like family in the first place. First of all is you guys, the students. This place would not be as alive without your imagination and your dedication to furthering the architectural discipline. You are the true heartbeat of SCI-Arc, and I know we will all go out into the world, invade it with our weird, rad way of thinking, and totally alter some perspectives. The relationship we have all developed with our studio mates are on par with siblings. To mine, I love you guys, and seeing you guys accomplish your dreams makes me so happy. I can't wait to see what you guys all do with all your talents and your ambitions. To the entire student body, it was a true honor serving as your student union president this year, and to whoever told me at the Bouncy House Fridays at 5 that we made student union cool again, that was one of the best compliments my team and I ever received, and it was great. So thank you. Rolling off of that, thank you to everyone who served on student union and attended or helped with any of our events. My core people that I could always count on, you know who you are, and from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for working with me to make student voices heard to connect the SCI-Arc community in every way that we ever dreamed. Thank you to Hernan and his administration for always listening to the voices of the students. They granted every single request that Student Union brought their way, and they were an absolute joy to work with. I'd like to interject a kind of very weird story, but it was my first meeting as president with Hernan and John and Paul. We had a lot of different things to discuss, but there was one thing that I was kind of nervous to bring up, but it was something that we had received complaints on, and as acting as the student body president, I had to bring it to attention. And so the problem was that the sanitary napkin dispensers in the ladies' restroom was constantly being empty. So I had to go tell these 3 males that were very important in our school that I didn't know very well, and they were like, "That's absurd. We need to fix that. We need to do this immediately." And instead of making sure that they were just regularly stocked, they actually went up to me and they just went and removed them and replaced them with free ones. And so it just kind of shows you what kind of leadership we are under. They really listen to the students, they really have our best interests at heart, and they're really being progressive in their leadership, and it's something that I can commend them on. In addition, my M.Arch 1 class has had the fortunate experience of beginning the same year that Hernan took over as the director. We have firsthand experienced the positive outcomes in your team's work, and we commend you highly and admire you. Our tenure has been incredible thanks to you. We are excited to see how you continue to morph the school, especially since NAB is now over and we can get back to the real nut job stuff. Leading that nut job stuff, thanks to our incredibly talented faculty, thank you for fueling our brains. There's been so many instances where I have heard many of you speak or seen your work and wondered inside my own head when the heck I would be as smart as you guys. And it's been really real. And my brain's not there yet, but thank you for the kickstart. And also thank you to the staff for making sure that this place runs smoothly day to day and has a healthy projected future. Without you, we couldn't pursue our passions together in this really weird long building. I love that all of you, we know you on a first name basis, and I consider all of you friends more than just people who are hired by the school. Thank you for teaching us the best way to put wheels on a pedestal, cleaning up after our finals weekend mess, making sure that our softwares are up to date in the computer lab, stocking the full colorway of Montana spray paints, and working towards building an endowment for scholarships and so much more. Most of the time, you guys are the ones who get most of the brunt when we are panicking from our stress and sleeplessness. So on behalf of the student body, I would like to apologize for any time that we were rude in our desperate attempts to meet deadlines. You guys are the real rock stars of SCI-Arc. And while I have the soapbox, I'd like to send some personal thank yous. The list is too long, but many of you should know who you are. Thank you to my non-SCI-Arc family, my real family, and my boyfriend for your constant support and encouragement. My M.Arch 1 class for being the best group of people woohoo, to ride this journey with. My student union team for putting others first and working hard with me. My close friends who kept me sane throughout this journey, especially my meow cat and dragon. Special thanks to Herwig, Valencia, and Pavel for being some of the most influential instructors that I had during my time here. My small thesis army of helpers and crew of advisors. I owe you my arm and my leg, literally. The new unofficial SCI-Arc dad for always going above and beyond for all of us, also proudly known as my dad. He fed us all breakfast like 3 times. And, and to all the SCI-Arc dogs for bringing us joy on a regular basis. SCI-Arc is, woo, dogs. SCI-Arc is amazing because our tight-knit family is made up of all these passionate oddballs of current students, alumni, administration, faculty, and staff. Like gears, we work together to craft a place where passions can thrive. Even though this is an architecture school, beauty and love for the things we do is explored through many different vocations. My peers will enter this next phase. Some of us will stay architects, some will specialize, and some will explore other models of design and personal expression. I am sure, speaking on behalf of everyone sitting here today, that for all the students graduating, whatever you end up doing, we absolutely cannot wait to see what it is and where you go. You are all absolutely amazing. As we distance, remember your SCI-Arc family. They're still here. And remember the values and ideals that were instilled in you while you were a student here. I wish you all the luck, but I don't think you guys need it. So congratulations, class of 2018. Let's go kick some ass.
Before we continue with the ceremony and all the celebrations, I want to take one moment to remember Alex Monroe Hayes, which tragically died early in August. He was part of this class. And instead to do a minute of silence, what I would like is to make a lot of noise for him, if that's possible with you guys. Please, let's remember Alex Hayes for a second. Let me introduce the Vice Director and Chief Academic Officer of the school, John Enright, who is an extraordinary man, an extraordinary architect, and the one that usually make sure that I don't screw up that much, John Enright.
Hi, everybody. This is a great job. I get to give out some awards. So not all of them, but some of them. And then we'll do the diplomas, and then there'll be more awards. So without further ado, the first award that I'll give out is the SCI-Arc Service Awards. The SCI-Arc Service Award goes to graduate or undergraduate students who made outstanding contributions in the area of service to the SCI-Arc community as selected by the faculty and staff. And so the Service Award, the first service award, I'll ask that the student please come up and receive it. For the B.Arc program goes to Andreina Pepe. Come on. The SCI-Arc Service Award for M.Arch 1 goes to Ashley Hastings. The SCI-Arc Service Award for M.Arch 2 program goes to Ross Fernandes. Okay, the next award is the Alpha Rho Chi Medal. A little bit of background about this award. Since 1914, Alpha Rho Chi, the National Professional Fraternity for Architecture and the Allied Arts, has promoted the profession of architecture by encouraging students to excel. To honor their achievements, the Alpha Rho Chi Medal is offered each year to over 100 schools of architecture whose faculty select a graduating senior they feel best exemplifies these qualities. First, the winners will get a certificate. Your medal will come later. I think it's engraved. For the B.Arc program, the Alpha Rho Chi medal goes to Karim Saleh. At the graduate level, the Alpha Rho Chi medal goes to Andrea Cadioli. Okay. The next awards will be the AIA Henry Adams Medals and Certificates. So each year, the American Institute of Architects awards an engraved medal and certificate of merit to the top-ranking graduating student in each architecture program accredited by the National Architectural Accrediting Board, our friends NAB, we remember them. A certificate of merit is awarded to the second-ranking graduating student. So these are provided as part of the AIA AAF scholarship program. So I'll first say the names of the certificates and then the Adams Medals winner. In the B.Arc program, the Henry Adams certificate goes to Luciano Menghini. In the graduate program, the Henry Adams certificate goes to Jackson Lukas. The Henry Adams Medal in the undergraduate program goes to Alexis Rosenthal. As I understand it, in the graduate program, we actually have two Henry Adams Medal winners. The first, the one and only, Abagael Warners. The other Henry Adams Medal in the graduate program goes to Ross Fernandes. Thank you. A lot of exercise here for this, a lot of movement. We will start with the diplomas. I want to introduce to you the chairs of our 3 programs. We will have Elena Manfredini, chair of the graduate program. We'll have Tom Wiscombe, chair of the B.Arc program, and David Rue, chair of the postgraduate programs.
Melissa Alvarez. Josephine Angling Dharma. Sandra Noemi Araiza. Patrick Bennett. Anvita Bolor. Jesus Chavez Garcia. Graduation with distinction, Isabella de Souza. Amir Ryan Farnan Fard. Yibo Feng. Yi Yuao Feng. Purva Yark. Angelo Francesco Gray Olivis. Arthur Gayros. Andrea Marielle Haliman. Stacy Han. Tarun Hari. Rishab Jain. Graham Forrest Jordan. Borna Khalid Nasab. Tok Hunt. Wan Shan Kung. Kevin Lok Lung Lam. Dong Jie Lee. David Lee. Brandon Lim. Yves Liu. Graduation with distinction, Luciano Menghini. Lala Mirzayan. Andreina Pepe. Graduation with distinction, Alexis Rosenthal. Karim Saleh. Graduation with distinction, Andrea Sanchez. Yunsuke Sato. Sarasvati Segura. Andrew Thomas Smith. Kathleen Williams. Yi Cha Wu. Nico Yoon. Andy Zhang. Bohong Zhang. Tongin Zhang. Ivan Zhang. So, meanwhile, while Tom Wiscombe does a lot of heavy lifting with our fantastic new diploma, thank you, Deb, I wanted to say a couple of words. As a grad chair, I had the privilege to witness an outstanding human capital at work today, in this weekend. Many words have been spoken. We had 78 jurors that accepted our invitation to review the students' work. I want to thank them all. I think they maybe have gone out of Los Angeles, but they've been gracious enough to be here for 3 days with us. We talked about 79 thesis projects, and we welcomed 1,000 family members. And each student had a perfect space for words, drawings, models, dreams, ambitions, risk, fear, leadership, and personal expression. Each faculty member had a role in the shaping of these projects, found pride in the quality of the work, poured their talents and their beliefs in the next generation of architects. And this would not have been possible without the tireless work of the graduate thesis coordinator, Florencia Pita. So, as some of you might know, Hernan Diaz Alonso has been the thesis coordinator for 5 years, before I also served and coordinated thesis from 2011 to 2015, when Florencia took the torch and carried on the thesis project in the school. So I talk by personal experience when I say that the theatrical production of thesis is truly an art. So I want to personally thank her for her dedication and the level of organization she achieved in the past 3 years. I want to thank her for her boldness, her generosity, her impeccable taste, and the grace it takes to do this delicate job of giving a fantastic stage to so many independent voices. So thank you, Florencia. I also want to thank the students for going all out this year, for taking risks, for shaping the discipline, for raising their voices. It has been a privilege to see you all grown in the past years and transform into our legacy. Thank you.
All right, so now I'm going to announce the graduating M.Arch 1 students. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay. Mohammed Galib Ahmed. Melanie Haven Alcorn. Winston Joseph Alfred Hamburg. Abdul Rahman Al-Hajjadi. Chao-Kyun Chen. Frank Y.T. Chen. Sifei Chen. Peggy Peiyu Chin. Spencer Daly. Luisa Fontana de Souza. Graduating with distinction, Amanda Delevine. Sapide Emanzedi. Graduating with distinction, Alessio Grancini. Mi Young Kate Ham. Ashley Morgan Hastings. Joyce Huang. Yan Leng. Ming Wing Erica Lee. All right. Nicole Yi Lee. Jinghu Liu. Graduation with distinction, Jackson Lukas. Yvonne O'Kara. Rebecca Tessia Park. Jungsi Peng. Elijah Ratansi. Evan Emmanuel Shaner. Dongwoo Suk. Mikiko Takasago. Erica Viado. Priscilla Villalpando. Koro Wang. Haotao Owen Wang. Graduation with distinction, Abagael Warners. Hao Wen Wu. Adrienne Sumin Yi.
Graduating M.Arch 2 students. Tamar Abdullah Al-Subi. Graduation with distinction, Andrea Cadioli. Juan Herberto Cardenas. Rachel Chen. Zikai Chen. Xiaolun Chen. Egil Delang Koberstan. Jennifer Ashley Down. Absalam Espinoza. Graduation with distinction, Ross Fernandes. Graduation with distinction, Jose Carlos Garcia. Yang He. Yu Heng Huang. Qi Jian. Mina Kim. Chi Ji Kwao. Marius Lurinkus. Philip Lee. Bingui Lee. Ria Lee. Yui Lee. Moan Lin. Languiji Ma. Andrew James Magner. Evan Andrew Mason. Wing Lam Fiona Ng. Eleonora Orlandi. Song Shu. Terrence Keenan Shepherd. Eugenio Superkey. Francisco Tom Soverina. Yo Tamura. Feng Wang. Gi Wang. Semeng Wen. Yuzhu Wang. Shui Wang. Zheng Shu. Mengyu Yu. Aja Jasmine Zara Parva. Hong Shuang Zheng. Graduation with distinction, Runzi Zhang.
So we are now starting to give the diplomas to the EDGE students, fiction and entertainment. Graduation with distinction, Viviane Elkmati. Michael Elrer. Lingyan He. Graduation with distinction, Corde Henry. Radini Jahad. Laura Kobesi. Che Sing Lu. Caroline Post. Yang Pu. Fariba Shafieh. Graduation with distinction, Mohamed Soleil Manei Fajarani. Yi Fan Wang. Leah Ann Wolfman. Zihan Zhang. Mutaz Turki Abbas. Jenan Raed El Sabag. Graduation with distinction, Marcos Dana. Ferial Faradzad. Madi Jan de Guimey Bobby. Leila Koradad. Kim So Kim. Graduation with distinction, Maxime Lefebvre. Graduation with distinction, Sheng Tai Linter. Eddie Traverso Jr. Berfudila Erten. Lamis Alabi. Paria Mohammadi Tabar. Noel Ortega. Jiqui. Jacob Seder Semblich. Yifan Zhang. Ravi Chandar. Wendy Allison Cox. Graduation with distinction, Ara Fegali. Graduation with distinction, Daniel Orowitz. Graduation with distinction, Dylan Kruger. Khosrow Salarian. Claudia Martina Rayner. And Denies Willis, not present. Graduation with distinction.
Let's start to spray the thank yous. So I want to thank Elena Manfardini, Tom Wiscon, David Rue, our fantastic chairs, for how hard they fight and work for the students. And just in case, I want to thank the chairman of our board, just in case he has to leave. It's always important to thank the chairman. So this is, we enter now in the final phase of the celebration. This is what I call the Oprah Winfrey moment. This is what we give away prizes and commendations and selections and all that. And this year we are thrilled and incredibly happy to share with you, the SCI-Arc community, a brand new prize called the Booth Bagot Graduation Prize. Booth Bagot is a global architecture firm. Pat Daly is here from the firm. He will speak to you guys in a minute. But on behalf of our students and our faculty and everybody here at SCI-Arc, we want to thank Booth Bagot for this commitment to education, to the future of architecture. It's incredibly generous. We're not going to talk about numbers because we are elegant people after all. But the recipients, you guys are going to be so happy when you open the envelope. So please join me to welcome Pat Daly from Booth Bagot.
Thank you, Hernan. Bring this down a little bit. Yeah, good. Actually, I'm somewhat surprised that there aren't a lineup of firms doing what we're doing, but at the same time, I'm kind of happy they're not. Woods Bagot is a 150-year-old firm, and I think one of the reasons we've lasted that long is we recognize that we're only as good as the top talent that we can bring into our firm, and we're only as good as our ability to keep at a cutting-edge level with that talent. So to that end, about 10 years ago, we were asked to open up 2 studios in the United States, one in San Francisco, the second one in New York City. And that was a result of a very careful analysis that said, you know what, the top talent that comes out of universities globally comes out of American universities. And so go make friends and get those people. 10 years later, they were a bit more specific, and they came to us and said, well, let's find the best university with the best talent coming out of it, you go get those people, and to really get your name out there, why don't we establish a prize, which we call the Woods Bagot Prize? And that prize is an inaugural prize given out now for the first time tonight. And Hernan will help me announce the names of the winners. But I think fundamentally, it's a strategy of, if you will, making friends and finding out where the talent is. And I was lucky enough over the last 6 hours to join in a couple of reviews and walk the halls of your incredibly long building. But there's one thing I realize fundamentally is that this is indeed the best source of young talent and creativity anywhere in the world. So I think we got that right. So tonight I hope to make at least 3 friends, but hopefully a lot more than that. And in closing, I'm going to steal quotes from a couple of things I heard tonight. The first quote was from Ambassador Nina, who said, "Do not leave your ideas on your desks." And that really resonated with me, because I think it would be tragic if the motivation, the level of creativity and invention that you were able to experience and able to put on the table here in your educational time was somehow lost or somehow not fulfilled fully in your next careers. And so I hope that we can be part of offering opportunities to some of you to fulfill your dreams and let your creativity run a little bit wild, maybe not completely wild. But the closing quote I'm going to steal from Abagael Warners, who said, what's the quote exactly? It's, "We want your weird, rad way of thinking," and that's absolutely true. And we encourage you to find opportunities with us or other firms, but definitely embrace that weird, rad way of thinking, because that's what's going to change the world. And we're really proud to be part of the commencement tonight. Thank you.
Stay there. Once again, Pat. Okay. Well, okay. We want to thank you. I just want to mention a little bit that this is slightly different than other prizes that we give. This was a prize that the student had to apply a portfolio, and and other factors were considered, and there was a committee and a very heated and longer debate to figure it out. I mean, there was incredibly huge amount of talent in the pool of people that were chosen. But at the end, there were 3 selected, 1 B.Arc, 1 M.Arch1, 1 M.Arch2. So I will mention your name and come and get your certificate and your check. So from B.Arc class, the recipient of the Woods Bagot Graduation Prize 2018 is Luciano Menghini. For the M.Arch1 class, the recipient of the 2008 Woods Bagot Graduation Prize is Mikiko Tagazago. I know. She thought that Pat was Florencia's father.
I think it's the accent.
Yeah, it's the Argentinian accent, Pat. And for the M.Arch2 class, the recipients of the Woods Bagot 2018 graduation prize is Jose Garcia. Thank you so much to Woods Bagot. Next, we're going to give the merit undergrad thesis. This is those theses in undergrad, we have our undergrad thesis weekend in April. We close the academic year with undergrad. We open the academic year with grad. So this already everybody know who they are because we already did that in a more informal setting in April. So today is a formal certificate of your thesis was selected among the best of an extraordinary body of work, like every year is getting better and better. So I will call your name and please come and get your certificate. SCI-Arc Merit Undergrad Thesis Award 2018 for Rishabh Jain. The next Merit Undergrad Thesis Award is for Brandon Lim. Next Merit Undergrad Thesis Award for Luciano Menghini. Luciano, I think you should set up camp up here. The next one was a team group. The next Merit Undergrad Thesis Award is for Andrea Sanchez and Andreina Pepe. And the last of the Merit Undergrad Thesis Award is for Sara Segura. Now, we move to the one that we just finished today at 2 p.m., grad thesis. Already, our grad chair, Elena Manfredini, recognized the extraordinary quality of the work and the fantastic leadership of Florencia Pita. This, again, is always a tricky thing. Architecture is always subjective, so to come to some kind of a conclusion and to some kind of system, how to determine the best work about a huge after a huge debate is always a healthy thing, but at the same time, it always comes with high level of uncertainty, fairness, and unfairness at the same time. Nevertheless, it's always important to try to recognize. I didn't. The order today is different. They do the merits and then the prizes. Sorry. John, like always, trying to fix my mistakes, so he assumed that I made a mistake like I always do, but in this case, it was changed. So thank you, John, for getting my back like always, but so far, I don't think I screwed up this time. We have 20 minutes away, so plenty of time. So the grad, I lost my line of thought, but nevertheless, Merit Graduate Thesis Award for this year, which also came with exhibition in the gallery, who will open in 2 weeks, I think. So Friday, actually 1 week, because 2 weeks is too long. So 1 week, see, I screwed up. It was just a matter of time. So it comes with that selection, so I have the chance to the work remain in the walls for longer, so we will have the opportunity to keep debating it for a little bit longer. It goes without saying, it was a phenomenal weekend. Thank you to the students. Thank you to the parents that they work hard during the week and always make us nervous that they will get hurt or something. But so far, so good. Anyway, the first Merit Graduate Thesis Award is for Frank Chen. The second Merit Graduate Thesis Award from 2018 is for Spencer Daly. The next Merit Graduate Thesis Award is for Yang Leng. The next Merit Graduate Thesis Award is for Nicole Yi Lee. It's okay, we'll wait. Congratulations. Okay. The next Merit Graduate Thesis Award is for Jackson Lukas. The next Merit Graduate Thesis Award goes to Abagael Warners. Merit Graduate Thesis Award for Andrea Cadioli. Congratulations. Merit Graduate Thesis Award for Jose Carlos Garcia. Merit Graduate Thesis Award for Eleonora Orlandi. Take your time. Merit Graduate Thesis Award for Yuju Wang. And the last of the Merit Graduate Thesis Award goes for Shiwei Wang. That's unusual, we just finished. All right. The next prize is the SCI-Arc Edge Prize. This is for our postgrad program. And the recipient for this year's SCI-Arc Edge Prize is Jeng Tine Linton Nair. Oh, sorry, you're coming from far. I thought I saw you before, but maybe you were done already with the school. Now we move, which I think, yes, the last two prizes. One is for the Best Undergrad Thesis Award. These are two awards that come with checks from the generosity of Blythe and Tom Main. This is the Blythe and Tom Main Undergrad Thesis Prize. We always incredibly grateful to the generosity of Tom and Blythe. They're always supporting SCI-Arc. Of course, it goes without saying, Tom Main is one of the founders of the school and an extraordinary architect and a force of nature, but so is Blythe. So we are very, very thrilled to have their name associated with this prize, and I think this is a great honor for the students to be associated with the caliber of these people, the caliber of the name of these people, and the quality of these people. So again, this happened in April. Already the winners know who they are, so in terms of the thrill, suspense, it's not so interesting for you guys. But nevertheless, this is your time to get the recognition of your peers and your family. So this was a split decision. So one of the Blythe and Tom Main Undergrad Thesis Prize goes to Isabela de Souza. And the other Blythe and Tom Main Undergrad Thesis Prize go for Karim Saleh. Congratulations. Now, for the grad thesis prize for the best thesis selected this year in the class of 2018, this is the Bertha and Frank Gehry Prize. This is known as the Gehry Prize. It's also another very gracious act of generosity of Bertha and Frank. So this prize comes from the endowment of their donation. So once again, we hope that you feel proud and obligated by the name that you're associated with in what it means for architecture and culture at large. So the winners this year of the Gehry Prize is not a split, but it's a team project, are Alessio Grancini and Runse Zhang. Before I send you, I give you goodbye and I send you out with some words of non-wisdom whatsoever. I would like to do the thanks first, so I make sure I don't miss anybody that deserve to be thanked at this moment. I want to thank first to our graduation speakers, Nina Hachigian and Abagael Warners. Fantastic job both. I want to thank our Vice Director and Chief Academic Officer, John Enright. Our undergrad chair, Tom Wiscombe. Our graduate programs chairs, Elena Manfredini. Our postgrad programs chair, David Rue. And here sharing the stage with us are all our coordinators, which represents the faculty. They work incredibly hard to help everybody else, everybody, the administration, the students, the staff, the chairs, everybody that need to be coordinated. So I want to thank one by one to each of you, Marika Trotter, Jack Matatayu, Florencia Pita, Devin Weiser, Marcel Ingao, Herwin van Gauner. Already Elena did a fantastic job thanking Florencia. I want to thank Marcel Ingao for her extraordinary job in undergrad thesis. She's moving on to other coordination position because she's a victim of her success. I want to already thank Tom Gilmore, our chairman of the board, but I also want to thank our board members, Bill Fain, and I don't know if anybody else, but Joe Day, which I thought you don't want to be thanked as a board member. Thank you as a faculty. I was planning to mention you as a faculty. Joe is alum, board member, faculty, is one, the big three. It will be like three majors if you're a golf player. So I want to thank the faculty. We have some of us with here: Michael, Maxi, Marcelo, Darin, Peter, Casey, Rachel, Christy, Ming, Andy, Anna, and if I'm missing somebody else, I thought Dwayne and Jenny somewhere there. So thank you, all of you. Matthew, yeah, I mentioned. Thank you to all of you on behalf of all of us here at the school. At the end of the day, the school belongs to the students and you guys. We want to thank Boots Bagot for your incredibly generosity, and hopefully, as you said, it will initiate leadership among other firms to support the future. Blythe and Tom Main, Frank and Bertha Gehry, Marcelo and Georgina Patton for the pavilion, who still works after 5-6 years, is still going. So, before we conclude, I just want to touch on a couple of things. One, an old friend of mine, one of my favorite architects from my country, once says that architecture was a genius solution to a non-existing problem, which I like it a lot. I always like it a lot because today, discussing with other people, we were talking about how in many ways Hells Angels. In many ways, sometimes we can argue that architects sometimes are the one that we know less about architecture. Not because we don't know, we know a lot, but we keep asking, we keep questioning what it is, we keep challenging, we keep defining it. So before you leave SCI-Arc, I want you to remind you that that's still the mission. Because you live in the school, that doesn't mean that the mission changed. The mission still is to keep looking for those new problems, to create those problems, to be negligent in a good way, to be irresponsible in a good way, to don't be reduced to a service practitioner, to be a cultural agent, to be an agent for change, to be somebody who can look high and be proud to be a graduate of SCI-Arc, because for sure we're proud of you. And hopefully you guys will be proud and you will be remember this time, not at the best time in your life. There's nothing more pathetic than an alumni reunion where they came back and they remember like that was the best time of their lives. Do not become that. Just SCI-Arc be a fantastic memory, but not be the peak of your life, not the peak of your career, not the most imaginative, creative moment in your career. Make it just the beginning. We will demand it from you, and you should demand it for us. So, I want to thank the staff for all the work that you guys put. You are the unsung heroes. I want to thank Stephanie Atlan particularly to put all this work. So remember, being an architect is an expert to be a generalist. That means the whole world is your house. Your whole world is your problem. So go and change the world. As corny as that may sound, you have to do that. So I want to thank you guys, you the students. I want to thank your parents. So class of 2018, please rise. Take a bow. And let's party.
So I cannot